Hello friends, welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the Deion Sanders of Internet Sportsbook. I am your host Tom Downey here, back with my Cowboys Mailbag, and then in a little bit we'll have a live Q&A, so use hashtag Cowboys if you want your questions featured. First up from JRO, because I'm always going to get it wrong if I say the whole thing. What big names can we expect to sign this offseason? Earl Thomas, Landon Collins, anyone else? Well, prepare yourself for the real possibility that there are no big names beyond your own guys, like, DeMarcus Lawrence and Amari Cooper, who are really good players. In fact, DeMarcus Lawrence would be the number one target for free agency if you actually hit the open market. But some other possible targets, and we'll have a full in-depth breakdown later on in the offseason. You mentioned Collins, you mentioned Earl Thomas, both those guys make sense. At safety, what about LaMarcus Joyner, who I think could be a really good piece alongside Xavier Woods, but is also going to be expensive. Grady Jarrett could hit the open market, although he is the Falcons' top priority. And if he gets cut, I would love to go pursue Gerald McCoy to pair with DeMarcus Lawrence. That right there is a hell of a 1-2 punch on the defensive line. The real chance the Bucs cut him, if he does, pretty much everyone's going to want to sign Gerald McCoy. All right, folks, subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that link if you haven't already, youtube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. We've got news, rumors, NFL draft content, free agency content, and fan-led content like this one, like our mailbag and our live Q&A. So if you have Cowboys fans who are friends, tell them as well, youtube.com/Dallas Cowboys Report. All right, Landon Baptiste, regular here on the show, says, will we re-sign Tavon Austin? I think that there's a chance here, and the big thing is that Tavon needs to come cheap. I think in general, Tavon Austin is not the guy that we all want him to be, He didn't actually make that big of an impact this year. The dude had 14 touches in the passing game and in the ground game this year. He's never going to be the dozen touch guy that Stephen Jones mentioned, even though I remain convinced, and no one will convince me otherwise, that Stephen was actually talking about snap counts for Tavon Austin. If he signs a team-friendly deal, I am on board with re-signing Tavon Austin. Let me know what you guys think. Type A for yes, type B for no. I think he'll come fairly cheaply given his injury history, and that everywhere he goes, people think, oh, this is the year he's going to be that dynamic, game-breaking gadget player. He's never actually been that, though, in the NFL. And at this point, it's probably not going to be. Heck, he wasn't even under Sean McVay. All right, YTA says, could I see an offensive assistant making the leap to OC for the Dallas Cowboys? I absolutely could. And if they do, I firmly believe it will be Doug Nussmeier, who regardless, I think will have more of an influence on the play calling and the overall offensive scheme next year than what he had last year. He's the top in-house candidate. He was a former college OC, good for Bama, not so good for Michigan, Florida, Washington, a little bit up and down there. There's not that much difference between Nussmeier and Linehan, but I believe that Doug would bring a little bit more of a modern offense, maybe a little bit more vertical passing, maybe some more read options, some more of the college-style offensive playbooks. I think that'd be a good sign for the Cowboys, and that's what they need. Cowboys signing Lincoln Riley as their new OC. I will promise you this right now, folks. There is a 0% chance that Lincoln Riley is coming to any NFL team as an offensive coordinator. Heck, he passed on the chance to be an NFL head coach. I know that it's not the same as a player. Obviously, the player you want to be in the NFL. But for coaches, a college job is at worst as good, if not better, when you're in a place like Oklahoma. Why would he leave? There's less pressure. If you don't win a championship game in the NFL and you only get a couple of playoff wins through 9 years, everyone wants you fired if you're Jason Garrett. Lincoln Riley has done a good job. He's won a lot of games, hasn't lost that many, has made the college football playoff, hasn't won a title, and everyone in Norman adores him. The pressure is way less. The money's just as good, if not better. I'd stay at Oklahoma if I was Lincoln Riley. If you want him and you're the Cowboys, it has to be as a head coach. He's never coming here as an offensive coordinator. Now, folks, today's show was brought to you by BetDSI, and we're already in the NFC and AFC championship game. So if you want to still bet on the NFL before the season ends, you better go do it now. Chatsports.com/bet takes you right into the site. Then use promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. If you put down $50, they're going to give you $60 for free. It's the best deal out there, but you got to use promo code Cowboys120 at chatsports.com/bet. All right, next up from Dak Attack says, who are the best slot receivers in free agency or in the upcoming draft the Cowboys could consider as a replacement for Cole Beasley? There are a lot of guys. Here are 5 to watch out for. 2 in free agency, Adam Humphries and Golden Tate. frankly, I think they're both going to command similar, if not more money than Cole Beasley, so I don't think they actually make all that sense. But in terms of the drafts, I know some of you guys like Lil Jordan Humphrey. I'm down with that one. I would love to get Andy Isabella. Now, you can identify people who are just basing things off of preconceived notions if they say Andy Isabella is the classic Julian Edelman or whomever type slot receiver. He's not. Andy Isabella can fly. I would love him in round 3. I'd even take him in round 2 if you do lose Cole Beasley. This is my new draft crush. Andy Isabella out of UMass. There's some video out there already on the internet of him just roasting Georgia defensive backs. This dude is good. He could be your Emmanuel Sanders type, or heck, if he runs fast enough, maybe even a Tyler Lockett type player. I like Andy Isabella a lot. Also, Deebo Samuel, who played quite a bit outside, but I think can play in the slot in the NFL as well. All right, folks, where are you guys watching from? While you answer funny story, I remember we used to do this all the time on Facebook. People would respond with where they're from. But sometimes on YouTube, I noticed this at first, you guys would respond with like phone or tablet or computer, which I found absolutely hilarious. We really just meant the city. So where are you watching from in terms of actual location, not device? All right, Sloan on Twitter. If we don't sign a safety in free agency, what round would you target one? And then also asked about Andy Isabella, who I think goes late round 2, early round 3 at worst. It depends on who's on the board, you know? I think you're looking at spots like safety, tight end, wide receiver, defensive tackle, maybe an offensive line with your first couple picks. If there's someone that you love there, you pull the trigger. If not, you probably wait until the mid or even beyond that round. So I don't have a great answer for you beyond let me see who's on the board. I love a guy like Nasir Adderley or Taylor Rapp if they fall to round 2, but I kind of don't think they're going to. All right, Cowboys fan says, will Sean Lee retire? Possibly. I don't know what Sean Lee plans to do. He's going to consider a bunch of different options. He's going to evaluate his future this offseason. He said he leans towards playing, but he is going, and correctly, to take his time to decide. I will say this, though. At his current cap hit, Sean Lee will not be back on the Dallas Cowboys. You don't pay a guy $10 million to play 20 or so snaps a game. That's terrible roster management. And I say this as a huge Sean Lee fan. It just doesn't make sense to bring back Sean Lee at that price tag. He'll be cut, traded, retired, or he'll take a pay cut. So, folks, again, we're having a live Q&A here in just a little bit, so get your questions in the comment section. Use hashtag Cowboys to have your questions featured. It's a lot easier for me to track them down that way, and for producer Dom, who's making this whole thing work and look pretty. All right, Victor, will Geoff Swaim be a Cowboy next season? I don't think so. I'm not convinced on that one the same way I am like a Cole Beasley. He missed the latter part of the year with an injury, and while he was out, Dalton Schultz and Blake Jarwin, I thought they stepped up with Swaim out. Now, Swaim is a good number 2 tight end, but I don't know if you really want to pay that guy. Can't you just ride Schultz and Darwin and draft somebody else? So I think the likely outcome here, even though it's not set in stone by any means, because who knows how much Swaim's going to command on the open market, you keep Schultz and Jarwin, of course. You let Geoff Swaim leave in free agency, and maybe you draft somebody in round 2, round 3, round 4, whatever. It's a pretty good tight end class this year, although not everyone ended up coming out, which kind of knocks it down a peg. Rico, meanwhile, well, I don't think there's much hope for Rico's future. Had a chance in the Rams game and dropped a pass, which is maybe why he wasn't playing that much this year. All right, Ezra Moore, you think we should have Zeke's contract extended? I actually don't think so. And that's not a knock on Zeke by any means. I think you guys know that I'm a big Zeke fan. And we know that Zeke, allegedly, per NFL Network, and not reported anywhere else, by the way, that Zeke wants a contract extension. Here's the thing, though. The Cowboys have Zeke locked up through the 2020 season. He's under contract until then. And yes, we know the money will rise, but so too will the cap hit, or the cap space, so it all kind of balances out in the end. With Zeke under contract, I'd consider playing hardball. I'd say, look, dude, we stuck by you during your suspension. We're not going to extend you right now. And if you guys want to hear my very radical take about Zeke Elliott, as good as he is, I don't necessarily believe in paying halfbacks massive amounts of money. Now, Zeke might be one of those exceptions like Todd Gurley is, and you can make a argument that he is. And if you can get Zeke to sign a Todd Gurley type deal right now, I actually do extend it. I don't know if Zeke will do that, though. So should the Cowboys extend Zeke this offseason? I just gave you my answer, but if you want more information, just DM me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. But type Y for yes, type N for no. All right, El Guapo FDR says he wants to be on one of your vids, so congrats. There you go, because I liked your question. Is there anyone in the first round this year worth trading up for? Offense or defense? If so, who are they? The answer is no, because I don't think anyone's going to fall to late first round. And this isn't about the players in this year's class. It's about what it will cost to actually move up. And thankfully, from last year's draft, we have a really good feel and good projection of what it would cost. So remember last year, Ravens move up. They take Lamar Jackson. They said number 132 overall. Eagles get a mid-second or late second round pick, number 52, a future second, and they swap mid-round picks. Here's what this would look like for the Cowboys, adjusting for the trade value from going from 52 to 58 and that other trades and all that stuff. So, Cowboys get number 32 overall. They send away their second this year, their second next year, and a fourth-round pick. For me, that's too much. I don't think the Cowboys are one late first-round pick away from winning a Super Bowl. I don't think they are. I think they have some other pieces to fill. And oh, by the way, when you get to next year and the year beyond that and the year after that, with the way that the NFL is built for the salary cap, you can't afford everybody. So you're actually going to want that fourth-round pick to develop into a key contributor, even if you lose him later in free agency. So for me, the answer to this question is pretty simple. Should Dallas trade up into the first round? It's no. It's not a knock on the players at all or the desire to get a really good impact guy. It's that I don't think 2 seconds and a fourth is worth giving up for a late first-round pick. That's not how I value how I approach the NFL draft. Now, if someone like, I don't know, Greedy Williams falls to number 32, maybe you change your mind. Or maybe if something goes crazy wrong with Ed Oliver and he falls to 32, maybe you change your mind. But in almost 99% of cases, I don't think it's worth trading up for right now. Hey Cowboys fans, thanks for watching the Cowboys Report. If you haven't already, click right here to subscribe to our channel for all the best Cowboys coverage on the internet. That's news, rumors, highlights, mailbags, film studies, and a whole lot more. And I'm making your lives a little bit easier as well with the next Cowboys Report video right here.